Alright everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Z Lucius, or you can just call me Luck. Either one works fine. And this is my first ever project, Planet Coaster 2. And despite the game coming out a couple days ago, this is the first video I have because this game is clunky and it's very hard to play. I mean, comparing my last build in Planet Coaster 1 to my first build in Planet Coaster 2, I had a lot of adjusting to do. So I took a couple days, figured out the builder, figured out all the menus, got familiar with some pieces, got familiar with the builder, and now we're ready to go. So I bring you my first project. This is called Tawiscara, a mock hyper coaster inspired by DC Rivals and Hyperia. So if you were to mash those two up, and this would be the result. Okay, intro out of the way. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, Planet Coaster 2 is out, and man, what a game this is. Really, it's just beautiful, honestly. Like the lighting and the textures, the way things look, it's just phenomenal. This game has such good bones. It just needs to be polished. It's like a diamond in the rough, as they say. No, that's not even the right phrase you would use. What the heck am I talking about? It's like, you ever see those videos where like, where it starts off like as a regular rock and then they just polish it up for hours on a grinder, and then it turns into this shiny like quartz crystal or something. That's what this game is. Right now it's just a boulder, okay? But in a couple updates, a couple hot fixes, this game is gonna be all you'll ever need in amusement park simulation needs. Okay, let's talk about what they need to fix. All right, so basically, the Gizmo is glitchy. I don't want to start off the video with negativity, but the Gizmo just needs to be polished. Like, there should be no instance ever, right, that you're building a vertical support beam like I did here. You copy and paste, or you copy what you made, you duplicate it, move it straight up to make it a bigger support beam, but then they're not aligned. It just translates a little bit in the X and Y axis while you're moving it Z. Moving it Z should just move it Z, no? So yeah, so it's been like that. Like, the game has some of these like micro things. Sometimes everything's aligned perfectly, and sometimes they don't, and it's inconsistent, and it's a bit maddening, and that is why this has taken me a while. Just had to get used to the nuances and the in and outs of this game, but once I figured it out, you know, it's pretty overwhelming at first with all the thousands of pieces, but once you figure it out, you know, it's pretty fun. You know, you just have to learn it, like all new things. And I do love my mock coasters. That is why we are doing another mock, despite my last project in Planet Coaster 1 being a mock striker. In Planet Coaster 1, funnily enough, I never had any DLC, so this ride model right here, this coaster, is the Mock Ride's launch coaster, but it also uses the same trains as their hypers, I think, so besides the backward seat. It uses the same trains, so I figured I'd use the same thing here. And I never had access to this train in Planet Coaster 1, so in a way, you know, this is like new content for me. So everyone's playing around with the new like multiverse coasters with the switch tracks, drop tracks. I'm playing around with the Mock Rides coaster because I had never had this. It's very fun. New content is new content, okay? And I just love making Mock Rides coasters because the supports, you can just do whatever you want, honestly. If it looks cool, then you did your job. So that's what this is. I always had the idea of having a large camelback and then having some type of inversion underneath it and having the two tracks share a support structure. That was just always an idea I had for a mock hyper. And so here we are doing it, first project of Planet Coaster 2. I did experiment with this idea in Planet Coaster 1 a couple times, but it's the time for that game's over. And I'm really sad because my last project was really, really freaking good. So we're gonna try and one-up that in this game. I don't know if I'll be able to get that level in this park. I maybe need a couple more weeks of building before I can somewhat replicate that in this game. So for the time being, we're going to be learning. We're going to be starting this new park. I'm not sure if this will be a series. I think it will be a series, but we're going to be building in one park. And we're going to be trying out a bunch of new things in the game. And hopefully it does turn into a nice series. But for the time being, I have not even come up with a name yet. This is just a park. And we're going to see where it goes. So the basis of this park is not... Well, first of all, the name Tawiscara, let me start there, is from Native American folklore. And despite it being in that sort of culture, this park is not supposed to be set in America or anything. This is supposed to be like an Energylandia type of park where it's in some European country and the government has just given this park a huge grant to boost tourism in the country. So they just get a bunch of money and they're just buying the best and biggest, most impressive world-class attractions, right? That's just Energylandia in a nutshell. They just get a big government stipend, and then what they make Zadra and Hyperion and stuff like that. I mean, that's like the best scenario you could ever be in for an amusement park company, right? It just sounds awesome to have the government on your side like that. So anyway, that's what this park is supposed to be. So this is supposed to be in, like, I don't know, Belgium, I don't know, something like that. Maybe this is, yeah, I don't know, we'll come up with the lore later. But this ride is themed to Tawiscara, and I've got an article pulled up here. Tawiscara is one of the twins born to Tekawakra. Tekawerakwa. Yeah. And basically, they're like twin moons, right? Tawiscara and the other twin, Ioskiha. And the reason I thought of these names was because there's this video game I used to play, a gacha game on iPhone, and it was called Blood Brothers. And I feel like that game was very impactful for my life because it inspired me. Like, anytime I'm feeling like uninspired and need something, I always look to that game, and there's always something I can pull from it because it's so diverse. It's like, it's a gacha game, but it includes characters and mythological creatures and gods and stuff like that from every single culture on this planet. Well, not every single culture, but most of them, right? So you'll have Odin in the same game as Montu, which is in the same game as Amaterasu, and that's where Tawiscara and Ioskiha come in. You know, they're just mythological creatures from Native American. And this one specifically, these guys, I say guys, these spirits are from the Huron, I believe. The Huron. And yeah, so of these two twins, I guess they're like twin moons or something like that. Tawiscara is the crazier one of the two, whereas Ioskiha is associated with light and good. Tawiscara is associated with evil, darkness, chaos, and deception. And they're kind of like yin and yang in that way, where for everything light and beauty created by Ioskiha, Tawiscara created something foul. And that is their sort of dynamic. I'll put some pictures on the screen of what I was trying to, or what inspired me from the game, and that is what I'm trying to put on this train right here. I'm trying to put the kind of shoulder armor that you see on Tawiscara. I'm trying to put that on the train, but as you can see, I'm struggling a lot. Okay, I'm looking through all the pieces, all the thousands of pieces, unfamiliar with this game, just trying my best and orienting them different ways, scaling them as small as I can get them, and trying to just make something that doesn't look like a bull statue on a train, because that's what this looks like. I believe in the Blood Brothers game, these characters are supposed to be kind of like rabbit spirits, but there's no rabbit statue in this game. Like, why would they make a rabbit statue? So I'm trying to somewhat do like a skull thing, kind of. It's got horns. I don't know. It's hard to not see the bull when you look at this thing. But if you can imagine those vertical lines there are the teeth, and then there's the nostrils. It kind of looks like a face. It's a weird face, but it's better than the bull. And I don't know. I feel like it looks okay. Don't look too close. Just you see the figurehead on the train, and you're like, okay, that's pretty accurate with the Mock Rides coaster. And yeah, look at the train customization. So I'm super happy with this. I'm so glad they added this to the game, because you can see I've added the different numbered the different numbers to each train. I always wanted to do that in Planet Coaster 1. I ended up naming my rides like a number, like it would just be called 1 or something, and then I would click on the little box that says show coaster name on train, and then it would put the number 1 on the train as if that was the name, right? And it would look like, oh, it's train number 1. And the problem with that was then, every train was number 1, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having numbered trains if every train is the same number. But when you just got one train in frame, it kind of makes sense, and that's kind of what you had to do. So anyway, that's all just to say that this game does a great job of remedying that. I will say though, in the train customization, I kind of wish they had like a mirror train option, so that you just had to customize one train and then it would copy to the other train, and similarly you just have to customize one car and it would copy to the rest of the cars, because I'm pretty sure they advertised that, or someone said that in one of the deep dives, I don't know, but I could not find that feature, so I just had to place each decoration on the train manually, which was a pain. I'm glad I kind of was able to copy the figurehead over. So that's the trains out of the way. Now we're working on some buildings. We're making the station first. It was also inspired by Native American culture just because of the name, and I thought it would fit very well. I don't think this is going to be like a Native American culture like theme park as a whole, just probably just this area of the park, but we'll see. Right now I am sort of building a teepee, and I wanted to use this type of design, but I ended up scrapping it because it was very difficult to make a station building around a teepee of this size that didn't look ridiculous, right? Because the station's pretty big. It's got a big footprint. You see it. It's like a 5x5 with the corners cut out. So I ended up scratching that idea, and well, I do keep the TP, but it's not quite a TP. You see, I use wood here instead of, I guess they would use hide, some type of buffalo hide or something like that, or maybe thatch. They'd use a different material, but those pieces aren't in the game, so we're going to use wood there, and it kind of simulates it well. But the main part of the station I'm building right here is going to be sort of lean-to style. So I'm also combining the lean-to shape with sort of a more contemporary like wooden timber frame structure. I'll put this reference image on the screen now. This is sort of what I was basing this build off of, sort of combining the two cultures of Native American architecture and then like modern contemporariness of having like modern glass and stuff. And I didn't add the glass because there's no glass in this game, but just keeping the modern look is ultimately what I did. And then you'll see these designs I put on, the plaster, the stucco, and I'm pretty happy with these. I'm glad these Viking pieces are in the game because they're so versatile. You can make lots of different things from different cultures, and this being one of them. And these designs, you see them a lot in, especially like remote South American type of countries. Like I did a project on Peru in high school, and specifically in the Lake Titicaca region, right? And there's some clothing there that has all these types of designs, so I really thought that was neat and wanted to incorporate some of those ideas. And also, if you never heard of Lake Titicaca, it's really interesting. They have floating islands. So anyways, So yeah, we're continuing on with the station building, just adding some sort of, I guess, sort of modern lighting. And if you look at these pieces, the resort lighting pieces, okay, the ones I end up hanging here, the lighting is messed up. Like, the lamp looks beautiful, but I had to place these smaller lamps inside to get actual lighting because it's kind of glitched. I think they're gonna have to patch that. Like, that's what I mean by this game being unpolished. There's just a bunch of little inconveniences, and as a whole, if you look at a bunch of minor inconveniences, if there's a lot of them, then it becomes a major inconvenience. And that's part of the reason why it took me a while to make this video. I was just, every time I build something, I'm like, oh, that's new in this game, that I did not expect that, oh, blah blah blah, you know. So learning pains, it happens when new games come out. And speaking of new games, you know, I kind of did not really understand the controversy behind Planet Coaster 2. I mean, yeah, the game's unpolished, and yeah, they had 8 years to work on it, but, you know, this is modern game development we're talking about. This isn't how games used to be, where they were you kind of got everything at launch. I guess that's what people miss. I know I miss that, but the fact of the matter is that's not how the games are anymore. They kind of released the alpha version, and then they used the sales from the initial release, right? And they'll use that as funding for them to finish the game fully, I guess. So in that sense, you know, you treat these game releases you take them with a grain of salt, right? And when you view this game under that lens of, oh, it's not quite done, it's just an alpha release, we'll get the full game later, then you start to see how amazing this game is, right? It's got excellent bones, and I can tell it's going to be a game I play for years in the future once they iron out all these kinks. But at launch, it sucks a little bit. You know, you waited 8 years, you're paying full price for a product, and then it's not quite done. And the problem there is that they advertise it as done, right? So that's my take on this game. Like, you take it for what it is. It's a modern game, and you need to give modern games modern game expectations. And that's how you stay undisappointed. You don't expect much. That's a sad truth. Don't expect too much, and you'll never be disappointed. And that's why I love this game, because I knew it was a modern game. It's not going to be 100% what you want it to be. You know, people aren't dropping bangers straight off the rip like Roller Coaster Tycoon, just dropping a game and then that's it. You get everything, and it's beautiful, and it's well optimized, and it doesn't crash your PC. Speaking of PC crashes, you'll see later. I don't even have to say much now. You'll see. But yeah, the structure ended up being enormous, but I think that's fine. It's a standout building for this area, so it makes sense to be big. I do wish when I built the wooden frames I used some of them without the rope, because it's just a lot to look at with all the ropes hanging everywhere. But if you don't mind it, it looks very good, all the details. I love the pieces in this game. They knew what they're doing with the scaling. Dude, scaling pieces is huge. Like, this game is basically you're playing Blender with a roller coaster simulator in it. I don't know if anyone's ever done any modeling or anything like that, but you're basically playing a modeling game. Like, you're making 3D objects, you're making FBX files in the game. It's so good. And then the mass recolorability, the way you can like mass drag, click, select items, and the most popular colored item in that selection you can change so that you don't even have to click on each individual piece. Oh, it's so good. There's so many good changes to this game, and then there's so many little kinks that I need to iron out. So yeah, this game is definitely like an alpha or beta release as it is right now. That's just how it feels and how it plays. But you know, by March, by April, this game is gonna be like 98% rating on Steam, and it's gonna be great. There's gonna be like 4 DLCs out, maybe like 3 DLCs, and it'll be great. there'll be crazy builds, and you'll be seeing YouTube videos on this game, and you won't be able to tell if it's real life or not. Like, you open up your YouTube feed, and even now you look at all these new projects being released, and you're like, dude, I don't even, is that real life or is that Planet Coaster 2? Like, these people are building crazy things, and this is just, like I said, just the alpha. I'm viewing it as the alpha. This is just the alpha of the game, guys, and things already look better than, well, not better than real life, but they look like they could be real life. So pretty soon they're going to be better than real life, and that's just the scary part. So super excited for this game. I'm probably going to be buying DLC this time around. And if they add Theme Maker's Toolkit to this game along with the scaling, it's just, dude, it's limitless. Like, Planet Coaster 1 was already limitless, besides like the coaster mechanics of not having like drop tracks, switch tracks, multi-launch, blah 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 blah. This will be a whole nother level.
And took it to a hoe. Number.
Especially if they add those special track pieces to different coaster models, which they will, right? Because the Intamin multi-launch is not in the game yet, the Velocicoaster model. And they're gonna have to add the fast switch track, and there's just so much they're gonna have to add. And once they do, man, this game is going to be great, really good. Oh, and these pieces here, I never had the Theme Maker Toolkit, so adding those, you know, damaged decals was very exciting for me, doing that for the first time. They add so much, and I really like that. And right here, I'm adding these light bulbs, and when you compare them to the string lights in Planet Coaster 1, it's just night and day. Like, these are actual light bulbs. Oh yeah, and here my game crashes. Look at this. And you see me raging because I'm like, what the, like, dude, the game crashed, and this is my second crash since having the game. It always tends to crash when you're selecting items in the scenery menu. I guess there's too many items and they're loading all of them. So what they really need to do in the next hotfix is they're gonna need a pre-cache killer. If you know that phrase, you're the GOAT. Because that is a mod from Skyrim that would sort of prevent the menus from crashing every time you open them, because there's just so many things in the menus. So, a little bit of lore about me. I really love Skyrim, and I played modded Skyrim. I think I had like 480 hours in Skyrim. Almost all modded. So fun, so good. Maybe I'll do like a Skyrim area, like a Whiterun themed area or something like that. Or what was the Imperial City named? Look at that. I claim to be a Skyrim fan. I don't even know what the city was called. Alright, where were we? Okay, yeah. Now we're making the maintenance and storage shed in front of the transfer track. And the reason I'm making it this big is because it's in front and it's going to be visible from the path. So if it was going to be like back behind the station somewhere in the woods where you wouldn't see it, then I would just make it like a corrugated steel shack, right? But it's up front, so we're gonna make it pretty. Add the string lights again, and try to make everything look better, even though there's a huge transfer track there. And this time lapse is wrapping up, but I will say, all of this, the supports, the track, the station, and the transfer track, all of it is less than 4,000 pieces. So I was able to make this into a blueprint, which you can download from the link in the description on the workshop. So do check that out if you're interested. I know it's a large coaster, but if your park can fit it, you know, why not give it a try? So yeah, we're wrapping up, and I'm going to, oh yeah, I'm adding these storage bins for each train. That was pretty nice to just use the boxes and tilt them sideways. And love all the sign pieces. Like, oh, this game has such potential. But in any case, we're gonna do a live walkthrough of everything I've done, and after that, we're gonna have a POV of the ride. And yeah, let's cut to that now. Alright guys, welcome into the park. Right now we've just got an empty sandbox world. And these people are upset because there's nothing to do. Nothing's hooked up yet, but here we've got a ride. It's located in the front of the park. I might relocate this later. But I do enjoy how it goes alongside the mountain range over here. But I did not leave any room for a service road around the outside, so it would have to go around the inside, and that doesn't really work with the way the paths are worked out. So, or the paths are going to go, so we're going to figure that out in the next episode. But here's the layout of the coaster. I try to make it super compact. It's very out and back, but this part's very big. But there's going to be like some water feature and a path going through here, so it's going to be incorporated into the area well, so I don't think the fact that this part isn't very compact, I don't think that'll matter as much. So if you can imagine the path having like a main street over here, and then the path goes around, goes under. I really like going underneath these 0G stalls. So I'm gonna have a splashdown, small pond, maybe a small bridge where the water stream goes off that way. Small bridge into this area, and then it'll be kind of its own plaza with a few buildings. Maybe not a building in the front here. So buildings, and then I'll do what I'm kind of known for at this point, which is landscaping. I'm not the best at building, but landscaping, that's where my skills pretty much shine. So I'll do lots of landscaping here, delve into the new plants, because there's so many new plants and foliage pieces that I'm really happy and excited to use. So yeah, we'll have our plaza. I'll make a custom sign for the ride, and I'll update the blueprint after that's done. And this area might have a flat ride or two, but I want it to be kind of enclosed and kind of feel like a village. And that's the whole theming of this area. And yeah, so we'll take a look at the queue. Just cattle pens around here. I did find a way to make the edges squared off, but I had to edit the nodes in the corners a little bit, so it was a bit frustrating. I feel like there's an easier way to do it. There just has to be. And there isn't many cattle pens, because I found the guests in this game, they don't like to line up. Like, usually there'll be enough people in line for about one train, and then people will say, I'm not waiting that long to get on. And I feel like that's just an alpha thing with the game, like I said. Later on in the game, I feel like queues will fill up and people will wait, because I don't see why that's a thing. That probably goes along with the console thing of there being a 6,000 guest limit. They don't want to have all the guests in one line. So I get that from a game developing standpoint. If you've only got 6,000 guests, you don't want all of them aggregated in one area. You want them spread out, so it makes it look like the park is full, or more full than it actually is. So I understand that. Here's the entrance up into the queue. I really like this staircase. And then we head into here. And here is the station. It's just very wide open feeling. I really love this station. The lighting, it's about to be sunrise, so that's why it's looking red like this. I like the dramatic lighting, so we'll keep it until the sun flips and then we'll pause the game. Right now we can see the trains with the lighting in here. That's lighting on the sides. And our figurehead on the front. It's kind of like a creature, right? It looks like teeth up here. It's not actually teeth. I try to hide the fact that this is a bull, as I said earlier, but you can pretty much see. I gave it some angry eyebrows, some nostrils, and some teeth, so it kind of looks like a skull of some different creature. And then I gave it the whole spiky headdress type thing. Then we got these things on the back of the chairs, which kind of add to the theming. I really like that. the exit part of the queue, well, first guests will walk across, put their stuff into the corresponding bins, and then when they exit the ride, we've got this nice kind of outdoor area with a few plants. And look at the different pots and planters in this game. Like, dude, if you saw my last project, if you're here before, you know I'm about to go crazy with these new plants and new planters. Like, I'm so excited to use these, man. Look at that. Gorgeous. Anyway, we've got our outside kind of lodge looking area, and this will be overlooking the plaza a little bit. So obviously this is the main viewing angle, so we want everything to be looking good here, and we'll get more into that next time. Waiting for the sun to rise fully, or we can take a sunrise trip. I just don't want the sun to fully rise as we're on the ride. But I guess we can go ahead and hop on. Okay, so what do you guys think of Tawiscara? Obviously, it's very DC Rivals and Hyperion inspired. We got the DC Rivals curved drop, just a camelback, Hyperia outer bank, DC Rivals non-inverting loop, and then we have a Stangle dive, followed by outer banked, I guess outer banked camelback into this kind of high G turn. It's about 3 Gs here, and then 4.5 Gs in this tight little part here before it lets up, flips you over the opposite way to a 0G stall before completing the roll into 2 quick ejector hills into the brake run. So I feel like pacing is one of the things I nailed on here. Despite the ride being 4,600 feet in length, very long ride, it's over in about 100 seconds, lift hill included, so it's a very fast ride when you account for the amount of track that it does traverse. So I'm pretty happy with the pacing. None of it feels dull or repetitive. It's all pretty exciting, I feel like. And yeah, here's the look of the station during the daytime. Full lighting hitting it. And I'm excited to finish this area and get this park underway. Alright, with that being said, that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one, where we will have this whole plaza finished, as well as everything landscaped. I don't know, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think of this direction of a park, as well as Planet Coaster 2 as a whole. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but I figured out how to play this game, so uploads are going to be more consistent moving forward. Yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and we'll see you in part 2.